Hello, this is Wmpyr here to talk about the crimped close range medium impact tool designed by Professor Bram Frank, who is a martial arts expert to say the least. Um, he is an instructor of instructors. Let me put it that way. And his specialty is Filipino martial arts. So this is perfect for those that train in the Filipino martial arts. You don't have to be, and you don't even have to train in martial arts to be able to use this to your advantage. But definitely it has the, should I say, the DNA of Filipino martial arts put in here. Okay. And from my guess, and also, from what he's personally told me, um, is pretty much like this is his ultimate contribution to the public is this thing right here, the crimped. So he is a knife guy. I mean, he likes weapons and stuff, but he's a knife guy, and now he went beyond the knife to this because this is not a knife. All right, let me show you guys right here. This has jimping, but it's just jimping. There is no blade edge. It doesn't cut and it doesn't stab. So it's basically, even though it looks like a knife, it's basically like a mini tactical baton, like a collapsible baton. So it's this size at first, and then it becomes a little bit longer. And then because of the pistol shape handle, you could still, this is the magnum size, so you could still get an excellent grip, um, lots of area here to still grab real estate. You still have plenty of real estate, solid grip here, and it increases your range that much more. And it gives you that knife feel. So you could still kind of like use it as a knife without doing the knife damage, right? So you could still use this all to that kind of advantage. So really, in a sense, it's an impact tool, and like I said, it's a mini baton. Is the way that you would use this. So then let me. Oh, that. Oh, yeah, and that's with the side, but oh, yeah, I could feel it to the bone. Yeah, not a good feeling. Would not want this anywhere. Yeah, collarbone. Any of these areas. That's solid. That's super solid. But the main idea here is use it closed. So in a real life situation, boom, you take it out. You don't worry about deployment, nothing. Just use it like this, closed. And then if you feel like you need that extra length, boom, like so, no problem, because it's already out. But the idea here is have it closed, and using it like this is way more powerful than using your hand. And, you don't have to have martial arts training to do something like this, to go like this, to go like that. You don't need martial arts training for that. I mean, it's very instinctive in that sense. But if you do have martial arts training, or you do have some more techniques and stuff that you can implement because you've been practicing and stuff, then this, I mean, the sky's the limit. I mean, if you do MMA, you have, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu type ground work, this will only make your submissions way more effective. If you're a Muay Thai fighter, this will only make your striking more effective. And then if you do, like Kung Fu or some other styles, I mean, you could even just scrape like that. Boom, boom, just scrape across. Now you got their DNA on here. And they're going to be, to create the space for you to escape and run away. With this, I wouldn't have a problem breaking a block of ice. Just, I could go to town on that thing. Bam, bam, bam. I could destroy that. I can't do it with my bare hands. I would be in a bloody mess. So just think about that. That's a very easy example. On a punching bag, For me to destroy a punching bag with my bare hands is going to take a tremendous amount of work. I mean, it could take a long time. But with this, it wouldn't. I mean, I could do it in a matter of seconds, start ripping up the bag with this. So you see just how much more powerful this is going to be, just like that. Now, of course, his knives, they will give you the option that once this is out like that, now you're going to have the blade like an actual, you can cut, slice and dice, and stab. So for those of you that want that, you'll be able to do that, of course, if you get one of his, actual knives. But the reality is the percentage of going to the blade where you need the blade. So boom, you're trying to defend yourself like this and you go, you know what, I freaking need this. That percentage is, come on, in a real life situation, it's going to be okay. So using it closed, this will take care of most of the situations you're going to be involved with. And you go, well, what if you take that out and because you took it out and you don't have the intention to use the blade, but they don't know that. So they might go, oh, you took out a knife, I'm going to take out my gun, and now you just made things worse. You escalated the situation. Look, the reality is in most situations where a knife comes out, the other person has no idea that a knife is involved. So this is going to be much less so, especially if you use it closed. It's harder to see. It's just less sticking out, So in the heat of the moment, when things are happening and you're defending yourself, hopefully you could just defend yourself just with this. And I'm telling you, percentage-wise, it's going to be more justice than I needed to use my blade and cut the guy up. All right. And the chance of them seeing this at all is going to be way smaller than a lot of people think. I'm not going to be like, here, look, I got this out. Please back off. That's not the way it's going to work. I'm taking this out, whether they see it or not, that's their problem. I'm not brandishing it, showing it to them. And who knows? They might even think it's pepper spray or something, or a flashlight. How would they know? And this is in the heat of the moment. So those are things that I think people really need to think about. Anyways, this is a wonderful tool. And if for some reason I go, yeah, I do need this, and boom, I do use this, they're not going to be dead. So no matter how bad it gets, and I'm using this, and that's another point that I've been making in the last few years, is that people think that lethal force equals more effective, and it's not. That's not necessarily true. It's not. Well, then if that's true, then why even use a pistol? Let me get a bazooka. Let me get a tank. let me get an intercontinental ballistic missile. I mean, it just ends up in that argument. And no, that is not better. That is not more effective. All of those weapons have a different purpose. Like they're used differently because they are different. It would be like saying a tank versus a helicopter or a jet fighter. Those are all different tools. And, having something like this is a different tool from a blade. And in some cases, not in all cases, but in some cases, because I have this and I know that I'm not going to have lethal force, I could use this all out. So I don't have to hold back. I don't have to worry as much. But then if I have a blade, yeah, I can't just be stupid about it because, I don't want to Dexter the guy and then I get in trouble with the law later and I get locked away for the rest of my life. I definitely don't want that. So those are all valid arguments that cannot be ignored. But, people always like to go to the extreme and they go, well, I'd rather be tried by six and buried 6 feet under or something like that. And that is true, but that is also an extreme argument and does not apply for every single case. So you have to not be thinking in such abstract terms all the time. Let's start. Look, if nothing else, yeah, go there. You could go there. You always can go there. So that's great. But let's try to be smarter. Let's try to be better. And I think that goes a long way, and people underestimate that way of thinking. So that's it for now. Thank you for viewing, and take care, folks.